This is Between Two Phones.
Back here in Nashville, we are talking AI. We got headphones. That's a great call. You know, I think, in fact, we need to wear headphones, I think, for every broadcast.
I'm noticing a difference, and that's a real thing. So this is why these people do that, and that's great.
It provides us more of an opportunity, or less of an opportunity, I think, to talk over each other.
That seems silly, but also very direct, and I feel called out on that. But there's something I actually want to talk about, John, and that is an emerging skill that everybody is going to need to adapt, and it's something very important related to AI, and that is prompts and prompt engineering.
The power of the prompt. You know, this is a session we will talk about in our tech summit in Nashville. It's extremely important. You can't expect the prompt to read your mind. I know you got kids, they're grown, but I've got a 13-year-old son. I find myself, if he asks how to do something or he's doing something, I need him to help in the garage or something like that, or we're working on something together. Do you ever find yourself and you're just like, let me just do it myself? Let me just take over and do it myself. And I know every time I do that, I'm like, no, I need to be better. I need to be more patient about that. I need to equip him with what I know in order to make him a better person. Well, if I think about the prompt in the same way, a lot of people don't want to use AI because they just don't prompt it properly. They're not giving it what they need to make it so that it actually works the way they want it to. They're not properly engineering the prompt. And so this session that we'll talk about today is about prompt engineering and the power of the prompt.
Yeah, if you found yourself getting frustrated that you can't get AI Companion to do what you want, and that it's really not being very effective for you, many times it's actually the I hate to say this, it might be your fault. It could be.
So
and I had to get rid, but this is a brand new skill that we're all having to learn. So let's go over some good.
So I shouldn't just write me a summary of our discussion. That's not probably a good prompt.
You can. That's not it's considered what they call a weak prompt.
Yeah.
And because what it's going to do is it's going to look at your whole discussion and go, okay, I'll give you a summary of that. It's going to look very similar to your conversation, but you could get a more refined answer, something more meaningful, if you just add a little flavor to that question.
Generate a 3-paragraph summarization, executive summary of our Q1 planning meeting in a new document.
All of a sudden, you have taken this from a spit out of just basically a regurgitation of what that conversation was to it's going to go into a doc. I'm going to break it down backwards, right? It's going to go into a doc. So it says, okay, create an item for me that is exportable to do something with. I want it to be executive or it's about these conversations, specific conversations. So you created some guardrails around what it's going to look at. It's going to be executive. So it's going to phrase it in such a way as to be presentable to management and higher ups and stuff like that. And be 3 paragraphs. That gives guidance behind what you're going to produce as a result. The difference between that is, one, I'm going to look at and go, oh, okay, yeah, that's what we talked about. The other one, I'm going to go, great, review and send. One is much more meaningful to the outcome of what I want to see based on that. So let's break down those different areas of your example there.
Well, in that example, I think we could go even further than that. I think I said something along the lines of 3 paragraphs, something like that. We've given it some attributes of the summary, which is great, but I also think that it's valuable in most cases to even start with a better foundation than that and say, give them a title. Like, you are an expert copywriter. That is your job.
Perspective. That's absolutely right. By adding in a component of where you're coming from,
right,
gives it context. And so that's called perspective. It's called foundation. Hey, I'm doing a podcast. I'm presenting to executives. I'm a software engineer. You give it that perspective foundation, and it can craft that result more clearly, a more concise result based on that.
So we're wearing these fancy headphones. You're an expert copywriter. Write a product description for noise canceling headphones. That's good. But it would be valuable to know maybe who that audience is. Are you writing it for an advanced technical audience? Are you providing the context that it needs to, like, what tone do you want it to be in? Does it need to be a professional tone? Is it more of a casual tone? Are you writing this for kids? We talk about like what length it needs to be as well. We said 3 paragraphs before. What's your typical length on a document? Do you need it to be 3 pages? Do you need it to be 3 paragraphs? Do you need it to be 3 sentences? How long does it need to be? And it's something that can vary very widely. I've prompted something before and it gives me a paragraph back. I've prompted it before and it gives me 10 pages back. There's a lot of variability there. And if you want to include any details associated with it as well,
Absolutely.
I think that's valuable to have. Maybe it would be valuable to know that there's variants of these noise-canceling headphones that we have, and to avoid certain things that we don't want to talk super granular on the technical details, talking about technical jargon and things like that. We don't want to maybe include some of that information, depending on who the audience is. And you can prompt those things. You can provide that level of context for it. What else can you do?
So once you've provided that context and you've given the details of the outcome you want to see, give it some action. You want to actually now say, hey, here's a thing to do inside of this. Right? For example, you've told it that you wanted this review of professional headsets for the purposes of creating a presentation, so you can tell it, create a document with this information, prepare this as an email, prepare this for a newsletter, create an action in there for it to, it's going to do that summary. It's going to, collect that information. It's going to have all these very specific details on the way it's going to structure, but now action that outside of just spitting out inside of the chat, but format it for different content types. Prepare it for a script. I've literally used AIC for Web, the chat function, to go create a script for John and I to go through. Now, anybody that knows me knows I didn't follow that script, but I have been able to create that by creating the action of make this in a way that I can read as a script. By the way, this is also a great one when you're doing a prompt for coding. Write a specific script for an integration between Zoom contact centers integration and my website's backend. And do it from the perspective of the developer, right? The person that is going in and actually copying this and put it in a exportable format so that I can input I think it's a JSON format.
You don't have to be an expert coder to code anymore.
Oh,
and you don't have to be a magician to make a prompt. What you do need to be is explanatory. And what I've found is 9 times out of 10, when I make a prompt, why is the first pancake always garbage?
Because you didn't wait for the pan to be ready.
Is that what it is?
It is.
Do you have this problem?
No, because I am a freaking pancake expert.
But the first pancake for me is always garbage. And so
I used to have a running joke about that.
Yeah.
You're hitting some very personal spots on this. We could do a whole nother episode on pancaking.
I would love to, and we should do it over the griddle as well.
Oh. Okay, but yes.
We are hungry when we're recording this right now. This is dinner time. It got dark on us, and It's 6:12 in the evening when we're recording this. I'm starving.
Yes. But to your point, why is the first pancake always garbage? It's because the setup wasn't ready to be done.
So for me, a lot of times my first prompt is garbage.
Yep.
I'll write it and then I'll be like, well, clearly it didn't get exactly what I was trying to make, and I need to do a better job to prompt it. And what prompt engineering has taught me over time is to be a better pancake maker.
Yes. One aspect of that I've actually, so I'll give it the super vague prompt, like, hey, tell me how my day is. And it goes into my calendar and it goes through and it actually does a pretty good job, but it's like way bigger. I'm like, well, I could have just looked at my calendar myself. I really didn't save myself any time. It just added some flavor. But what I need to do is give it a little scope, right? Don't tell me how my day is going unless, now I could ask it how my day went yesterday, but how's my next meeting, right? So define some scope that's going to be more meaningful. A good example, if we were looking for, to write a review of headsets and we said, hey, we want to write the reviews of headsets, but we do work at Zoom. So only Zoom certified headsets.
There you go.
So now it's not going to tell me about every headset in the world. It's going to tell me about Zoom certified headsets because really that's the ones I'm going to care about. Just that little line is going to make the result so much more impactful to what I want because I've given it enough scope to be meaningful for what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and I think that you can pull in other elements to that as well, and I think that's important when you, not just the scope, but leverage your search when you need to go out and maybe you want to find on those headsets who are all the competitors in the space as well that are using headsets that maybe we're saying this just the Zoom certified ones, but are there better ones out there that are maybe not Zoom certified? We can leverage search in that as well. Prompt it, ask it, find more information about it, and it'll help find that.
There's another process for AI prompting, and it's called the chain of thought technique. And what's interesting about this is you throw a prompt out there, but you're like, I'm not loving it. I don't know if the pan's ready for this pancake, but we're going to see how it goes. Well, you throw this little method on there. You say, ask me questions as you go. Show me your work. Validate with me. There's a few prompts you can give it to say, I want to be involved as you're thinking about this.
This is a big one for me. I like to know, it's kind of, you call it the chain of thought. It's almost how the sausage is made. Like you're getting a little peek into what it's doing on the back end, and you're able to help it think through it. It's helping you. It's almost you're having a dialogue, making it come together.
It is. It's really, really good for refining, especially when I'm creating something that I'm going to have that's impactful, right? It's not just me consuming it, right? I'm looking at sending this out, to others. So this is something that is a representation of my work. So I want to be involved in this conversation more so than just, hey, summarize my last meeting with John and send it off to, our boss. Let's really ask me questions as we go. That's a very simple, straightforward one. And what that does is AI will then begin its thought process, right? You'll see thinking and all this stuff, and it shows you a couple things, but then it'll stop and go, hey, I saw you and John were in Nashville recording some excellent things. Do you want to include this information? Yes, yeah, include that. Okay, do you also want to phrase it in this way? It'll bring me into, like you said, that conversation so that now I guide where it's going even more. So my beginning prompt can be a little weaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my ending ends up strong.
Right. And you can even take it a step further at that point and flip perspectives on it as well. Ask it to argue with itself. Give me a counter argument. Ask it if you've got a scenario that it's built out, maybe you're advocating for something and now you want to see what the counter argument is. And then synthesize both of those perspectives together into a nice blend of whatever you're trying to write and put together.
I mean, a great example would be which is better. Give me a good summary on why butter is the best thing to use when cooking pancakes in a pan. And you could ask for an alternative on why certain oils might be better, particularly if you use bacon grease. Yeah, I'm that old school. Yeah, bacon grease.
I've never tried that, but it sounds like it may take it to the next level.
It does.
A little bit of salty in there.
The American Heart Association is not a sponsor of the show. But yes, you can flip that perspective. You can see the other side of that. Moral of the story is prompt engineering is becoming the new thing that will make your life so much easier.
Yeah,
so.
This is your hack, your life hack to productivity right here. And if you want to learn more about it, we have a special session on day 1 of our Nashville Global Partner Tech Summit. So please be there. You'll make sure that you hit that session because we're going to talk all about AI prompt engineering and take this to the next level.
And who knows? Maybe an attendee will end up on an episode of Between Two Phones. It could happen.
Also, who knows? Maybe we'll have pancakes there.
I think so.
We'll see you next time on Between Two Phones.